To be honest, things were deteriorating back in the States. To begin with, George may have truly reached his lowest point, which neither he nor the audience are accustomed to witnessing. Although we have witnessed George's struggles throughout the Gilded Age Season 3, George usually manages to pull through. The man has been unable to get a break this season, but there will undoubtedly be setbacks along the path to make his train proposal a reality. George's proposal made more sense for the Merricks, therefore J.P. Morgan tried to help him out with his spontaneous little rich men kidnapping plot. However, I believe we all anticipated that firing Clay would backfire. Like Bertha, I think George is a loving family man, but I also dislike the way he handles a lot of things and find him to be cold, cunning, and harsh in his business dealings. After all, he's a brutal businessman, so hearing him state that he would much rather see everything burn, including his family's wealth and the livelihood of many others, left me feeling uneasy. He has no choice but to watch it all burn, but he's a proud man. I'm not sure, everyone. Additionally, it seems like they are preparing for Larry to deliver the funds George has required to carry out some of these more significant power maneuvers. Will it be too late, though, when George discovers that? But in order to tell George the news and keep his connection with Marion intact, Larry must board the quickest horse, train, or other means and return to New York. Despite the fact that she may occasionally really mess things up, I generally admire Marion. She doesn't seem ready to get married, so her response to learning that Larry was a little dishonest about where he was the night they got engaged made me understand even more that she was right to want to take things more slowly with him. Larry told a falsehood. He most definitely did, but he only lied about where he was going. Yes, I would also be furious, but Marion would have reacted horribly if he had told her that his friends planned to go the casino, brothel, and fighting all-you-can-eat buffet. Is that an excuse now? He didn't do anything improper, since we witnessed him reject advances from women and mostly go to celebrate with Jack and his pals. Is the falsehood, however, justified by that? Everyone will respond differently to this and Marion's response, and I don't believe there is a clear-cut right or wrong in this situation. However, I will state that Marion ought to have waited to speak with the man before severing her relationship, at the very least. It's not even about overreacting, rather, it's about demonstrating Marion's continued burden of demons and hang-ups from the past, which is perfectly legitimate. She shouldn't think about getting engaged and getting married right now, though, if she still needs time to comprehend it. I feel sorry for Larry because he is going to be caught off guard and crushed, but I also feel sorry for Marion because she loves the man but is currently confused, cynical, and unsure of herself and her desires. Everyone was aware that things would get complicated, but the episode when Marion broke up with Larry in writing after they became engaged. That's just cruel, then. Speaking of unkind, it felt unfair that poor Jack was ejected. It was really sad to see him asked to leave, even though it wasn't what he wanted. Maybe that's not the exact word for it. If I narrow my eyes, I can understand why everyone believed it was best for him to move on, but it felt terrible to think he was somehow superior to the profession he picked or that he was making fun of it and everyone around him. He has made his own community among his co-workers and is now wealthy, but how many times do we have to hear that money cannot buy happiness before we start to believe it? He was happy in that mansion. Will Jack be alright in the end? Of course. However, you can't help but feel sorry for him now that he's alone with this enormous sum of money and no one to talk to. Was it better for Jack or Agnes to live in a home where her footman was more valuable than she was? I would be remiss if I didn't mention the conclusion before concluding this lengthy review because, my God. Why were they forced to perform John Adams in that manner? Helping Maud and putting aside his hurt and resentment to help someone else who might or might not have earned it was perhaps the most selfless act Oscar had ever done in his life. However, he was rewarded by witnessing the love of his life being ran over in the street.